Hello, friends. Welcome to the Truth to You Daily Podcast with Brother Scott. We are thrilled that you have taken time out of your day to explore with us God's timeless truth. Regardless of who we are, we all need the light of God's Word to illuminate our path for this day. And now, here is our youth pastor, Brother Scott.
Hello and welcome back to the podcast. It is Wednesday, October the 5th, and that's right, you guessed it. It's another Truth to You with Brother Sam. He is in the studio. How are we doing today, Brother Sam?
Oh, I'm doing great. How are you, Brother Scott?
I'm doing fantastic. You know what I've been thinking about all week?
Oh, what have you been thinking about all week?
I've been thinking about whether or not the fact you brought some type of joke with you.
Oh, that was this week?
Yeah, it was this week.
Oh,
yeah, you're supposed to be ready for that.
Lucky for you guys. I remembered.
That's
Yay.
good, because we all know our listeners have a hard time getting up and getting going, which is most of the time they're listening to this in the morning. We assume that's happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like this will do a lot to get those brain cells operating the way they need to.
Oh, yes. I think it'll help our stats as well for the podcast. We get so many more subscribers.
Yeah,
awesome.
I'm sure we're just going to triple whatever we've done in the past.
Exactly.
All right, give us your best joke.
So category is I've got a knock-knock joke. Always a classic, knock-knock jokes
sure.
and everything. So are you ready, Brother Scott?
Yep, hit it.
All right, here we go. Knock-knock.
Who's there?
Cash.
Cash who?
That's okay. I've got a nut allergy.
Yeah, I as I said cashew, I began to smile because I knew you had what you had done there.
Yes, I did.
So, can listeners use that without giving credit to you, or would you like them to give you credit?
I would like for them to give me credit.
I think they should. I think they should.
Yes,
protect our content.
Exactly.
Okay.
Yes. Copyright it.
All right. Well, there you go. Feel free to use that throughout the day. Just make sure you give credit. More important things, far more important things.
Yes,
we're in the book of
obviously.
Proverbs, and we're at Proverbs 21, and excited to get into this. But before we do, we need to mention our verse of the week, which we've been working on. It's Proverbs 15 and verse 22. The Bible says, "Without counsel, purposes are disappointed, but in the multitude of counselors, they are established." One more time, Proverbs 15:22. "Without counsel, purposes are disappointed, but in the multitude of counselors, they are established." All right, so we are into Proverbs 21. Take a moment to read this chapter if you've not already done so after the podcast is over. But Brother Sam, why don't you read the verse we're going to talk about here?
Sure thing. All right, so today we've got Proverbs 21:20 as the verse we're going to be focusing on. And Proverbs 21:20 says this: "There is treasure to be desired, and oil in the dwelling of the wise, but a foolish man spendeth it up."
That's good. When you read that verse, there's one particular word that really catches my attention, and it's the word dwelling. It's almost like this verse is giving us an inside scoop on what these two people's homes are like.
Exactly, yes.
And I wonder, you have any insight on that type of thing in your experience?
Well, yeah, there's always, I think, the older you get, the more, the more homes that you see and the more places you get to go. But I remember very distinctly a home that I went into. It was actually my great-grandmother's home. And we went into there, and it was like in a nursing home facility up in Front Royal. And every time I would go there as a child, there were frogs everywhere. Not
like
live
real
frogs.
Ones?
No,
okay.
not live frogs. I would have liked that as a kid, of course. But no, it was just frog decorations everywhere. I mean, rooms were green. There's like frog clocks, frog soap dispensers, frog rugs.
That's unique.
Frog toothbrushes, all kinds of frog stuff.
My goodness.
And then I remember as I got older, I think I asked her one day, I was like, I love frogs, so much too. Like, how did you, become to love frogs so much? And she's like, I don't. I said,
what?
How could you not love frogs? Your whole house is decorated with frogs. She said, well, somebody gave me, a frog decoration, and then somebody else saw, and I must have liked it, and then everybody just started giving me frog decorations, and it just snowballed
from there.
Yeah.
Wow. So a frog theme.
Exactly. Yes.
A frog theme. It actually reminds me, growing up, my mom loves roosters.
Oh.
And for a while, she was in this like chicken rooster thing. So when people would walk in their house, they would see chickens and roosters, not live ones, obviously, but again, it was kind of her thing.
Interesting.
And kind of a farmy, she was kind of going for that. But that's what you would have seen had you walked into our home growing up, and you know, if you would have walked into your grandmother's, or your great-grandmother's? Great-grandmother's, yeah, sure, okay. So there are different themes, and we've really got two different themes happening here in this verse. Let me read it again. There's treasure to be desired and oil in the dwelling of the wise. So we take a peek inside the dwelling of the wise man, and we find treasure, and we find oil in this dwelling. Well, so what does this symbolize here? This really is, I think it's moving from general to specific when it talks about oil, and I think because oil was so special in that day, they used it often. You needed oil to light your lamps at night, and you know, to have illumination for your home. And quite frankly, the wise man has stored it up. He's not used it flippantly. He's been maybe cautious at the times and places that he's chosen to use it, and for that matter, he's saving it for when he does need it. So the wise man has rightly chosen to store up and save for the day in which it will be needed. And so there's a principle here, isn't there, Brother Sam? Mm-hmm. Well, what principle can we apply here?
Just not wasting what you have. Good stewardship, for sure.
Yeah, 100%.
Being able to, you know, hold on to the resources that you have and not waste it flippantly.
Yeah. Right. So, you know, to translate it into where the teenagers are at, you know, maybe not all of them have a steady income, or, you know, some would, but how easy it is to just let that money burn a hole in our pocket.
Oh, yeah.
You know, or even birthday money, or things that there's probably more than one way our teens get money and have resources that way. But just learning the principle, right, of being able to put back for the day in which you need it, and store up for the moment in which you may need it someday. So we peek into the home of the wise, and that's what we see. Yes. All right, so give us another home.
So the home of the foolish man is completely opposite, you know, because it says that the foolish man, he spends all that up.
Yeah.
So, I think it's interesting that it says he spends it up, because it means it wasn't like he was poor to begin with. He had something.
Yeah.
But yet he spent it. He did not look forward, you know, into the future, thinking, okay, I should conserve this.
Yeah.
You know, spread it out for when I might need it.
Yeah.
You know, I think this reminds me very much of when I worked at Chick-fil-A.
Yep.
And a lot of my other coworkers, of course, probably the age range for people working at Chick-fil-A was really like 16 to 22.
Okay.
So very young, most of them, some high schools, young college. And I remember people talking about how they were living basically paycheck to paycheck, but not because of the money that they were getting, just how they were spending it. Because they were talking about, I can't go to the mall this week because I don't have money to pay for gas. And I'm like, you need to, you know...
change the priorities.
Exactly. Yeah. So...
Well, that makes sense. And the other part of this that, you know, you think about is this person is not only able to help them, they're not able to help themselves.
Exactly.
When they need it, but they can't help anybody else either.
Right. If they can't take care of themselves in the first place, they're not going to be able to, you know, help those around them that are needing it, or, you know, even when you think on a more spiritual level, you know, like just even tithing.
Yeah.
You know?
Mm-hmm. So, very true. So we limit ourselves whenever we just go gung-ho and I'm just going to take everything and spend what I have, and we're limiting ourselves. We're limiting the opportunity to help other people, and it's just not wise. So we look at these two very different households. We don't see any chickens or frogs running around, but we do see two very different settings, and for me, in my house, and hopefully for the teens, we're gonna be prudent. We're gonna be wise in how we use our resources. Any closing thoughts here before we go over, Sam?
Yeah, I would just say probably the biggest thing is, you know, just pray to God about any kind of financial decision that you make.
That's
be a
good.
good steward of the money that God's given you.
That's
and
good.
No matter, I think a lot of times we think, okay, well, if it's a big purchase, we're going to buy like a really nice phone, or as you get older, maybe even a car.
Yeah.
Yes, you pray for those ones. But even the smaller things, because it all
Yep.
adds up. Just pray and ask God, hey, is this how you want me to spend your money? Because it's the money that he's given us.
Yeah, absolutely. Great thoughts. There is treasure to be desired and oil in the dwelling of the wise, but a foolish man, well, he spendeth it up, right? Okay, before we go, I need to mention our teenager today. It is Melody. We're praying for her. I should have sang that. That would have been much more...
Sing melody.
Yeah, Melody.
Oh,
yeah,
God,
okay.
yes.
All right.
Okay.
We've been on here too long. We need to go. All right. Anyway, you get the idea. Pray for her and ask that the Lord would just be a special blessing to her today. I don't know how it is, Brother Sam, but we've gone over 10 minutes, so I've got some.
Is there a penalty for that?
Well, we're going to dock your pay. That's one. But
okay.
yeah, and then I'm going to get half of what I got before, which was nothing. So,
my.
but if our listeners want to speed up the audio, they have that ability.
Yes, they do.
Now, I wouldn't recommend twice as fast.
No.
But 1.25 might be enough to get it under 8 minutes.
Don't go over 1.5, or else we're going to sound like gibberish.
Right, yeah. All right. Okay, thanks for listening. Hope that you enjoyed another podcast. And Brother Sam, thanks for joining us.
Thank you as always. See you next week.
All right, see y'all.